Guys, what is going on? It is your boy Nate. We're gonna be hopping into today's video, just guns blazing, because I want to talk about some things that y'all brought up in the other video, the lies I believed about women for 27 years. Great feedback and comments, but today's video is going to be on, are we cooked because of social media? One of the common themes that I was reading throughout those comments was, I had one person say, I was about 20 years behind the time because of social media. I had someone else say that, women only want the narcissistic Chads and Tyrones until their 30s, right? I had some other guys say that it really just comes down to, what you want, and you shouldn't care about what women think. And it was a whole mixed bag, right? But the common theme was, social media and how it's changed things. And I do want to touch on that because I don't believe we're totally cooked, but I do believe there's a couple things we have to really watch out for. Now, I want to give a brief overview. Back in the day, so I am Gen Z, right? I was born in 97, on the tail end, right? And so a couple things I really noticed. When I was a teenager, Instagram first came out, Snapchat first came out, and those two apps, those revolutionized social media. I mean, it's changed how we communicate. I think it's had some of the biggest changes on how we interact as a society in general. You had things like Facebook, you had other social media, right? But it wasn't to the extent that Instagram and Snapchat was or would become. So obviously, guys, we know because of social media, it's changed how we date, it's changed how we look at each other, all these things. One of the things I want to focus on, though, is how it really relates to women and the psychology behind that. Now, what I've noticed is Instagram, especially, a lot of people have alluded to this and talked about it a little bit, but Instagram in particular, it is what I would call like a quasi-dating website. Snapchat kind of is too. Snapchat is, it's geared towards more of the younger crowd. People in their 30s and 40s, obviously people of all ages use it, but it is more of a younger thing. Instagram, though, is for people throughout pretty much any age group, and it's more of a social thing. So I want to talk about Instagram primarily, but I'll make some references to Snapchat as well, because I think Instagram is really the game changer when it comes to social media. Point being, a lot of times on dating apps, on dating websites, you can actually link your Instagram to your dating accounts. Another thing too is Instagram, it's very easy to find people because Instagram will just start to pop up with people, even if they aren't in your phone anymore. Like, I've had people that I don't have their contacts anymore, they still pop up in my Instagram feed saying that I should follow them because one other person that I follow follows them. Very interesting how social media works. It somehow knows people that you've known, and if it doesn't, it will eventually. So food for thought. But guys, I think one of the most fascinating things about social media is how it actually relates to women and the psychology of that behind it, because most social media, most dating websites, platforms is actually geared towards women because women are social creatures. And so what happens is, and this is how clubs work, this is how bars work, right? And the point here is most of these platforms know if they can pull in women, if they can pull in attractive women, right? It can be women in general, but women, across the board, attractive women, that men will follow, right? Because men are pursuers, because men will follow where the women go, essentially. What happens is women love social things, right? It's just a fact. Women love being social, more social than men. So women like social media, Instagram, things like that, because it's easy. And what I mean by that is if you're a man, and a lot of men aren't even on Instagram or social media anymore. For reference, I have an Instagram. It's a very small Instagram. It's public, but it's out there, right? I keep a very small circle. I post very rarely. To me, it's nice to have, just to have it, but I try to stay off as much as possible because I think social media definitely does have psychological effects, but I think it's cool to, keep up with friends, family that you want to be a part of, but that doesn't mean you got to be on there all the time. So you got to check some balances, right? But women like it because you can go on there and it's safe. You can see what a guy's about. Now, obviously you can make a lie about your life on social media. You can lie, you can have filters, you can make yourself look completely different. But women, guys, women like the way that things look on a different way that men do. See, men, we see a woman, if she's pretty, if she's got a nice curvy figure, if she, you know, checks our boxes, we're very simple in a lot of ways. Women, though, it's bigger than that, okay? Women want to see that you can protect and provide. Women want to see if you're exciting, right? There's so many different things that they look for. Instagram's a great way to find that out in a matter of seconds. If you post pictures on there, you can call them thirst traps, whatever you want to call them. If you post pictures on there of your best self, guys, if you're, you know, semi-attractive, fit, you have your life together, you'd be surprised. You can be pretty successful. But the issue is a lot of guys don't want to get to that point. It takes time to get to that point, and they think it's bad. What I mean by that, a lot of guys think it's bad to post pictures of them, or just to do things like wear a leather jacket, wear a denim jacket, wear some nice, you know, dress boots, right? A lot of guys, they have this weird mentality where they can only wear, you know, jeans, a t-shirt, tennis shoes. I mean, yeah, you're gonna have some girls who like you, especially, you know, if you're a Chad, if you're a tall Chad, that's gonna work well for you. But guys, why would you stop there? Okay, what I mean by that, just as an example, guys, this is a personal example. Back when I was going out, I was dating, some of my best success was when I looked, this is gonna sound funny when I say it, but when I looked like a bad boy, but I acted like a good guy. What I mean by that is I do like to wear leather jackets and denim jackets and black dress boots, right? I like to look what some people might call a little edgy. Okay, I like to wear nice fitting, like white t-shirts, black t-shirts, subdued darker colors, right? Gray, dark blues, dark greens, reds, masculine colors, right? I like all that kind of apparel. Never really been into like name brand type of stuff, like having to wear a bunch of Nike, and I really could care less about a lot of like designer brands. If I like the way it looks, if it's a certain type of clothing, then I like it. But that's not the point. The point is, when you look a certain way, women want to see a man and go, wow, he actually cares about his appearance. Women find certain things attractive, guys. Women find guys who invest into themselves, who actually spend time on themselves, 10 times more attractive than the guy who's just doing everything to check the boxes of what he thinks society is gonna, you know, pat him on the back for. That's why I made a video on why women will date broke men. A woman would much rather date a guy who's making $20,000, $30,000 a year, barely making it by, in a bunch of debt, but actually takes time and money to spend on his look, his appearance, his hair, his clothes, his car, right? You gotta start somewhere, okay? So if you have a crappy car, make sure you're wearing decent clothing. You don't have to wear designer brands, but make sure you're wearing decent clothing. Make sure you're taking care of your hair, your hygiene, all these things, right? Make sure you're, you know, it sounds crazy, pluck the crazy eyebrows, you know, you got going on. Make sure your eyebrows look good, right? Get rid of the unibrow if you got some crazy stuff going on there. Make sure the nose hair ain't, you know, popping out like crazy, right? Make sure you either have a clean shaven face or you keep up with your trim. You got a nice beard or something. Like, guys, make yourself presentable, and that's half the battle. Women love it. They love it because it shows you care about yourself. Because if a man if he can't protect and provide for himself, how's he gonna do that for her? So it's an instant sign of attraction. Just like we see a woman and we go, wow, she's got a good figure, a pretty face. Women look at us and go, okay, does he take care of himself? How does he carry himself, right? The confidence, that's a big one. And honestly, guys, being confident ties into wear what you want to wear. Stop wearing and stop doing things just because you think society wants you to, or because you think you're going to fit in better with society and all this crap, right? Basically, be an upstanding person, but look the way you want to look. Do what you want to do. A woman would much rather be with a guy who's barely making it by, who's enjoying his life, right? You should always be trying to level up, but who's enjoying his life, okay? And if you have $20,000, $30,000, okay, but if you've got a dream, if you have a purpose, if you have a mission, if you have a reason, and you are just out there, you carry yourself with pride and confidence, and you're not slouched over, you're not always looking around wondering what everybody's thinking, guys, you're gonna go so much further with women, right? They're gonna want to be a part of that because, one, you have the confidence to take on what's in front of you. Most guys, they just want to do enough to get by. They want to do enough to make it seem like they're doing the right thing. Oh, I work at the office and I make $80,000 to $100,000 a year. Women should just be falling at my feet because they just want a guy who has money. Well, guys, if you never portray that in a masculine way, they're not going to care. I'm just going to be straight up with you. They're not going to care. But we're going to tie this back to social media. It's the reason it's so effective and the reason it's become so dangerous these days is because you can take a few seconds to look at how someone's social media is and gather a pretty good idea of who they are. Social media is our highlights. Social media is where we go to post our best angles, our best self. What's scary is obviously the filters, right? A lot of guys getting catfished. The fact you can make yourself look a completely different way than who you actually are in real life. But women see that and they go, oh wow, yeah, he looks really nice. Yeah, he's got his stuff going for him. Oh wow, look at all his followers. That must mean he's really good with people. His social status is like through the roof, right? He's able to gather a bunch of people's attention, and all these are important. But the issue is, it's easy, it's simple. Guys, I would even say this: women like dating apps more than you do. And what I mean by that is women, they want to feel safe. They want to feel secure. And so it's much more secure and easy for a woman to go on a dating site or an Instagram and look at a man, DM a man, whatever, than to actually put herself in a situation with some random person she just met at the store or the coffee bar or church or whatever you want to call it. It's so much easier to just sit back in the comfort of your own home and just flip through a bunch of pictures or text or make an occasional phone call or whatever. So much easier to do that than it is to, make sure you look good, go out, you got to talk to this person, got to get to know them, right? Like you can get to that point, but social media, for the most part, dating apps, it's pushed that timeline back, right? It's sort of, in some ways, made it easier, right? If you're in the top 10% of looks, obviously you're going to do really well on dating websites and Instagram, things like that. You got to learn how to escalate, but yes, looks are the most important thing. If you look like a 10 out of 10, you can say almost anything you want on Tinder, on Bumble, on Hinge. You can say whatever you want on Instagram, same deal, right? It's all about the look. It's all about what you can portray. Newsflash, guys, women are actually attracted to men. Crazy, I know, right? We've been told this lie that women aren't sexually attracted to men like men are to women. Guys, I don't know who came up with that. It's complete BS, because when you find a woman who actually likes you for you, you'll be shocked, okay? It's all a lie. If she likes the way you look, if she's attracted to you, guess what? She's not going to be asking like, oh, well, how much money do you have in your bank account? Oh, how many followers do you have? Guys, if you're hot, that's all that matters. So that's why a lot of people are getting disgruntled, because let's face it, a lot of people don't have top 10% genetics, right? And with the advent of filters and the fact you can go to studios and make yourself look like you have it all together, right? If you have more money, right? More money can get you better clothes, nicer cars, the ability to go to these photo shoot studios and make your life look like it's awesome when it's really not. Money can buy you a lot of access. It can make you look a certain way. So yeah, it's going to make you look better. But if you're a broke guy who's able to look better, the only way you can really lose is if a guy is more confident than you and has more money than you. Okay? And we're just talking about strict, earthly things. I'm not talking about like, there's some women who will look at a personality, who will want to make sure that personality is there, okay, long term. But if we're just talking right off the bat, social media dating apps are a huge deal. And you guys have to realize, if you want to be successful, you have to sort of play the game. A lot of guys watching this video, you got to be honest with yourself. You got to look in the mirror and go, okay, am I really wearing what I want to wear? Am I really acting how I want to act? Am I around the people I want to be around? Am I pursuing my dreams? Because when you start doing these things, guys, they all sort of domino effect onto each other, and you start catapulting yourself forward into this masculine confidence that is going to be a magnet for women. You're going to put yourself around women. You're going to put yourself in situations where you learn to overcome fear. And then that's going to help you overcome your fear of rejection or your fear of talking to women. That's going to put you in these situations where, because you're taking care of yourself, you're taking pride in yourself, you're looking at yourself in the mirror and going, wow, I look great. Wow, I do look good. Because as men, we believe this lie that we shouldn't be confident, we shouldn't be taking care of ourselves, we shouldn't be chasing our dreams, right? That we should just let everybody, get the fruits of our labor. We should be working for people above us, that we should be good, subservient, people. And yes, there's a time and a place. You should be a good worker. If you're working somewhere, you should do the best of your ability. Yes, you should be respectful to people, but do not let people live through you. Do not let people live off of you. There's a difference between voluntarily giving to people and trying to make their life better, and there's taking care of yourself. If you want to maximize your chances of taking care of other people, like a future wife and kids, which a lot of guys want, you got to make sure that you are taking care of yourself. Make sure you're maximizing your abilities, your charisma, your looks, your financial provisions, right? You have to, what a lot of people get stuck on is, obviously you shouldn't just be thinking about yourself, okay? And if you want to get biblical with this, there's even a verse that says, don't only look after your own interests, but also to the interests of others. It doesn't mean forget about who you are, forget about what you need, and just give everything to everybody else. A lot of people have this weird idea that you should be a doormat, and that's not, that you can't do that, guys. It's not sustainable. You're going to be running thin all of the time. You're always going to be running on empty. So you got to be careful. You got to be really, really, really careful. So social media, guys, again, I would say you can use it as a tool. You're not cooked, but you got to be real with yourself. You got to, some guys, they swear it off completely. That's okay. Personally, I think what you should do is you should have a social media and you shouldn't care what people think. Straight up. That's the best way to do it. I've been in both situations. Sometimes I still struggle with it. Like, should I get rid of it? Should I not? Blah, blah, blah. I've gone without it for months and months and months, actually years. And I've had it, I've deleted it, I've got it back. And what I've realized is a lot of the reason why I wanted to delete it is because I just said, I don't want to deal with it anymore. I just, it's toxic, it's whatever. But I started to realize that, one, it's only as toxic as you make it. You have a choice how much you want to scroll through social media, right? But it is a tool. It's a social tool. And let's face it, a lot of people are using social media to interact with friends, with family, to see who you are, to, just get an idea of what's going on. And I get it. It's social media. You shouldn't take it too seriously. But guys, yes, you can be fake on social media, but don't be fake on social media. Live your life. Be who you want to be, right? Be who you want to be. Show who you are, right? Don't be afraid. Don't try to just, well, I'm not going to do this because it's toxic or whatever, right? Live your life, right? Do the right thing. That doesn't mean you got to be a hermit. I think that's where a lot of guys are heading towards. They're like, yeah, I'm not in the top 10% of looks, so screw social media, screw dating apps, screw it all. Okay? It's just not worth it, right? You gotta play the game. You're not gonna get there overnight. I don't think you should be vain either. I'm not saying as a man you should be vain. I'm not saying you should be narcissistic. I'm not saying you should just become self-obsessed with yourself, because I see a lot of guys on social media who do just that. But there is a tasteful way to be a confident, attractive man on social media without going that far, okay? There really is. Now, if all you're posting is a bunch of thirst traps, then yes, that's, probably, you could do better, right? A man shouldn't be behaving like a woman, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? You shouldn't be behaving like a woman. Now, here's the other thing, guys. If you want to get a lot of women, if you don't care the quality of women, just go on there, post a bunch of thirst traps, get in shape, make sure you look really good. You'll have women, straight up, especially for dating websites. You'll have women. But guys, a lot of these, these dating experiences, right? They fizzle out. You meet the person, they're not who you think they are, and that's why everybody's confused, because they're like, well, they looked like this person and they texted like this, and once I met them, they were completely different. Well, no crap, because social media dating sites aren't real life. But guys, those are a couple things I see. I don't think all hope's lost, but I do want to talk about some of the negatives as well, because there are negatives here, okay? I know I talked about it briefly, but Snapchat, guys, honestly, I would never get into a long-term relationship with a girl who had a Snapchat, because they're finding out that so they say that most marriages, most long-term relationships are ending because of financial problems, right? And they say like the second biggest reason is because of infidelity. Well, I think we're going to start seeing as time goes on, infidelity is going to become a bigger issue. I think it's becoming a much bigger issue. But I think the biggest reason for that is because of what the commenters actually said on the video I referenced at the beginning, is because it's so easy to go on there and see, for instance, a woman can see a guy who has more money, who's more handsome, who's taller, who's got more social status, who's got more confidence than her husband. And she starts to think that she can get that type of man. She starts to think that, oh, that's possible. Oh, I can get that too. And men, it's the same way. Men, we go on there, we go, oh man, she's bad. Man, she looks so good. And so we start to get these warped perceptions of reality, when really we need to realize that those are highlights of people's lives. That is not the reality behind closed doors. They could be a totally different, totally awful for you person, right? But it's set up this precedence in our heads. It's subconscious, it's psychological, where we are buying into these highlight reels as the standard of life. And it's dangerous because you can DM somebody, they can DM you, can start out innocent, but you know it's not. And then all of a sudden you're meeting up for coffee or for lunch. And then the next thing you know, you're you're going back to their house or your house or hotel or in the car or whatever. And it becomes a whole mess, right? So that is a big problem. You got to guard your heart, man. When you go online, it's very easy to covet. It's very easy to want to lust after people and want to be with them. It goes for men and women, so you have to check yourself. That's why I think Instagram is so dangerous, because you get caught up in the highlight reels. So yeah, just be careful of that. But don't just, if you want to swear it off, by all means do it. It's your life. But again, you can use it as a tool to interact, to socialize, to put out something about your life, because let's face it, most people are on, okay? I don't think social media has gotten to that point where it's just pure evil, right? I don't think it's gotten to that point where it's just all bad, all negative. I think we might be getting there. I think it might be another decade or so, depending on how things go. But I still think that you can have enough, you can be anonymous enough, because let's face it, guys, everything's integrated in some way. There's some people who are like, I'm off the grid. It's like, yeah, that's what you think. Your IP is being tracked, or at the end of the day, if they really wanted to find you, they could find you, right? Everything's got a signal. Unless you live out in the middle of the woods with no electronics, you're not really going to be living this off the grid life that you think. So you might as well learn how to socialize with people. Socializing, the landscape is always changing. Snapchat, I want to go back to that real quickly. Again, I wouldn't date somebody long-term who had a Snapchat, because let's be real, Snapchat's on another level. Like, you can literally just send a snap. There's layers to these apps too, guys. You can send things, you can hide things, you can hide them like multiple ways. You got to go through multiple things to find things. So it's so easy to hide certain things. Some people say, well, if you really trust somebody, it doesn't matter what they have. Yeah, but what's Snapchat for? Okay, if you want to send a picture to someone, send it to their phone on a text, right? Snapchat is just too easy for men and women. All right. That just opens a whole can of worms. But guys, I think at the end of the day, we're not cooked as men when it comes to Instagram. Take my advice. Don't be vain. Be masculine. Play the game, right? Do your best. Be a good person, right? But be a man, be who you want to be. I guarantee you, with time, you're going to start getting more women's attention. You're going to start getting more girls, maybe in your DMs, right? Maybe in person. I don't think it's that serious, guys. I don't think it's that serious to swear it all off. I don't think it's going to be that big of an issue, right? Until it is. And I think we're pretty far from that time. So guys, that's what we do as men. We overcome, we adapt, we improvise, we keep pushing forward, we find a way through. We don't just throw our hands up in the air and say screw it, right? So if you guys got any comments, if you got anything you want to add, if you have any disagreements, guys, I want to hear in the comments below. But I'll see y'all at the next one.